in a press conference yesterday.
I'm fully aware that I'm ultimately responsible for the situation that has harmed the university as a whole and our Department of Athletics and our football program. I want to apologize to Buckeye Nation. I followed my heart, not my head. I fell short in pursuing full information because at each juncture, I gave Zach Smith the benefit of the doubt. I did a poor job at Media Day. It's a big reason why we're here today. I was not being as complete, as accurate as I should have been at Media Day and afterward. But there is no intent to mislead. My role is to set a good example. In this instant, I did not live up to the university's standards. The suspensions are tough, but I fully accept them. I wish I could go back and make the different decisions, but I can't.
What about Shelley's text messages? Why were you not concerned from her messages about this situation?
I was not aware of Shelley's text messages at the time.
What message do you have for Courtney Smith?
Well, I have a message for everyone involved in this. I'm sorry that we're in this situation. And I'm just sorry we're in this situation.
All right, we're going to get into the tone that Urban Meyer, Gene Smith took yesterday at the press conference in a second, but I just want to first start with the 3-game suspension. I've been following people's reaction over social media and across the internet. I think the 3-game suspension is significant. I think that it's a real deterrent and real punishment. I think the suspension without pay for both of these guys, Gene Smith and Urban Meyer, are real and significant. I think Ohio State punished these guys. I don't think Ohio State punished them with a full belief that these guys were totally wrong. And so I don't have a problem with the 3-game suspension. I think it was harsh. I think it was firm. I think the people that are criticizing and saying Urban Meyer should be fired maybe have gone a bit too far. But first of all, I want you guys' reaction to the 3-game suspension.
I kind of expected somewhere in the lines of a 4-game suspension, worst case a year. At no instance did I think that he would be fired. He's too valuable to the program. They've done too much stuff in terms of winning and making their place at the top of the college football landscape. I just know that Ohio State relishes the fact that they're a dominant team in the Big Ten. They don't want to lose the leader of their program. So giving him a suspension would serve, I guess, some of those people well, but it will allow them to retain the leader of their program, which is what they wanted to do.
I don't know. I see 3 games, and it feels like a slap on the wrist. You know, it feels like, hey, this is a situation where Urban Meyer, when presented with the information, the first thing he went to do was, oh, how do I delete old text messages on my phone? You know, and the next thing he does is Urban Meyer's out here. I have a memory loss. I can't really remember everything. To me, that's a guy who's guilty of something. He's looking to get out of this. So I would have gone all or nothing. I would have gone, let's just get rid of Urban Meyer. Let's put a stand on it and say, you know what? We're an institution of higher learning. We care about trust and integrity. That stuff matters to us. And sorry, Urban, you're gone. Or I would have said, hey, you know what? We're not going to suspend you at all. We don't think you did anything wrong, which is kind of what they're saying, right?
No, yes and no. Okay. Again, the 3-game suspension provides some cover for Urban Meyer. If they don't suspend him at all hell breaks loose across the media in Ohio, and the witch hunt amps up even more. And so I expected Gene Smith to be offered up. That was my narrative from the word go, is that they were going to blame it on Gene Smith and Urban Meyer would survive. And so, again, that's why I go back. The 3-game suspension, I think, is significant. I don't think it's a slap on the wrist. Urban Meyer does not remotely look like a person who's been slapped on the wrist. Urban Meyer, whether rightly or wrongly, feels like he's a victim here. The way he carried himself in that press conference screamed that I'm a victim. And so I get we'll go here a little bit earlier than I anticipated, but I just think that Urban Meyer, Ohio State, Gene Smith, the president, the board of trustees, their actions all scream to me is we have information that makes us believe that Urban Meyer's not the real bad guy here. But we don't trust the media enough to put that information out there. And I don't blame them for that. And I know I'll be vilified and ridiculed for saying that, but having been a part of the media since 1990, having been covered by the media over the last 2 decades, the media is not interested in the truth. The media is not interested in context. The media is interested in hanging people. And so I can just talk about the stuff that has gone on in my life, and I don't want this to seem like it's a personal thing because I've seen it happen with too many people across the board. Context and the full story is irrelevant. It's just who can we hang? And I think what we've seen from Ohio State this time, what we saw from Michigan State last basketball season when the media was out for Tom Izzo and Mark D'Antonio, Michigan State and Ohio State just said, you know what, we're going to wait the witch hunt and the mob mentality out, and we think we can survive this. And I think you're going to see more institutions and more leaders take that approach. Rather than give in to the social media lynch mob, they're going to say, you know what, we'll wait it out.
And I think that is something that's very, very valid because when you look at this situation, if you dump Urban Meyer, then what? Does it go away? It just goes to the next. The mob goes to the next story. I think in Ohio State's case, they had to do something to punish Urban Meyer, let everyone know that the allegations and all the stuff that took place was very, very serious. But they also have to keep their house in order and make sure that, look, football is big business. They're in the business of winning games, and they want to put themselves in the best situation to win. So even worst case, if they suspended him for a year, you cannot let one of the best football coaches in college football walk away. They're not going to let him walk out the door. I think Ohio State kind of served 2 masters with this. They made sure that the house is in order, but they also let everyone know they're sending a message to Urban Meyer. He has to act the right way.
A couple things. You mentioned Gene.
Here's what I would say, though, as a person in the media. I would rather him be real than put on a show. If that's not how he feels, the fact that he let it out, I don't feel that way. I'm glad he did it. That's a level of transparency that we can now judge him on. You can call it awful, or you could sit back and say, I don't know all that transpired here, and maybe there's something motivating, and maybe it's just arrogance that's motivating.
Or he's protecting the school from a potential lawsuit from Courtney Smith,
potential lawsuit.
That could happen.
I could see them not wanting to go down that road. I just think we're judging Urban Meyer on how he dealt with the media at Media Day, and I don't think we in the media ever sit back and evaluate ourselves. Are we doing things that are causing sources to have zero faith in us? Is this clickbait level of journalism we're doing, making sources and newsmakers totally afraid of us, totally afraid to divulge any information to us because we will turn it into clickbait. We will use it to destroy people rather than try to explain and understand people. Some of this is on us, and we can demonize Urban Meyer and all these other people that criticize the media, but some of it is on us. I've been in this since 1990. The level of journalism we're doing today is embarrassing, and it's destructive of people. And sometimes people make tiny mistakes, and we turn it into mistakes where they must be destroyed. That scares people and makes them lie to you, makes them not trust you. And so Urban Meyer, again, he's faced some penalties here. 3 games, he's been embarrassed, had his reputation besmirched. We in the media, we're in total denial about our role in the things that we're doing improperly. So, Urban Meyer, I hope you've learned a lesson, and I hope we have too in the media. Coming up, I'll tell you why there's one AFC team that might actually dethrone the Patriots this year. And at the 30, Earl Thomas is one.